Now after that, we need to talk about some things called scales. Now the cool thing about scales is the chromatic scale is one. That's what we were just talking about. And chroma means color. Scale means ladder to measure. So like literally chromatic scale means colored ladder because every note is kind of like a different color. So it's kind of like a rainbow scale. So it's got like everybody in it. But you can end up with all kinds of different scales by adding and subtracting notes from the chromatic scale. Now normally if we're thinking of let me kind of get a drone here real quick. Like for instance, like if we are thinking of E as a root note of in other words, like if we were taking like an E string, right? And we were just doing chromatic scale for it. Well, if you have different scales, right? Like if I brought up like let me see if it's gonna work. Let's go here. Right? If we have an E root, right? Just a big old E note. You can play just about anything you want to over the top of it, and you end up with all kinds of different sounds. We can play chromatic scale, for instance. So anything could work over one note. We got this big old note. If you play other notes that have the same name as that, things sound really, really big. That's why we call those notes the same name. For instance, you got an E on the E string, you got an E string or an E note on the A string, you got an E note on the G string on the 9th fret, so you can go like E and an E and an E, and you could almost like take your pinky and kind of like reach over to the E on the 12th fret. You can play all those together. Kind of be now a couple of notes that one sound out again. But it sounds really good because it's E and E and E and E. Well, you could go and find all the E's, and this can be a good exercise too to know the fretboard better. So you could go like E on the 12th fret, right? We got an E on the 9th or 7th fret on the A string. We got one on the 2nd fret on the D string or 14th fret. And we got one on 9th fret on the G. We got one on the 5th fret on the E. And now the thing is, over the 12th fret, everything starts over again. So that's back to E there, E there, E there. Well, if you go and find all the shapes of these guys, like we start at 12th, you end up with this really cool little diamond shape. And these are actually called octaves because we're going like eight letter names to the next note, right? If we started on E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. So E to E is something we call an octave because octaves 8. So anyway, you've got like, I feel like thinking about this in baseball diamond because this is home base, that is first base, that is second base, this is third base, and then back to home. Alright, but then you could go from here to like the B string, right on the 17th fret, on the B string is another note. I call that one left field. And then that one goes, this is just like this fret too. And then you can go to the A on the 7th fret. Right? And then from there you can go back to the G string and just start it all over again. So it's like home base, right around the home to first, second, third home. From third you can go to right field, left field, back to first base, back to the E. Just like home. Anyway, it's good to get familiar with octave shapes. Sometimes these are called octave zones, like especially with visual systems. You got like, we call this a 6-4 octave zone, 4-1 octave zone, 3-1, 6 octave zone. So numbers of strings if you're relating. But then other things. All right, you can add and subtract anything to end up with different scales, and it kind of depends when you're making up scales, like who you add and subtract. Now, there's one guy that can make the biggest difference in the world, depending on whether you're adding it interval-wise to a scale. And that's the third, because we build chords in thirds when we start talking about big old, nasty, crazy cool stuff. We build chords in thirds, and so like if you add a minor third, like third fret on the E string to an E scale, it sounds really sad. Even if you do bends on it, hammer on, or pull up. Alright, if you added the 5th fret to the scale, then that would be like an A note, right? That's what we call